to come and make her remarks. Your Excellency, Madam Vice President, she is the first woman of color to be Vice President of Colombia. Welcome.
Buenas tardes. Saludo al presidente.
I greet the President of the Republic of Kenya, William Ruto. I greet the excellent President of Comoros, Azali Assoumani, His Excellency Oussa Faki, the President of the African Union Commission, the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, all the presidents and leaders, ministers, the media, and all those present here. In first place, I wish to thank the President Ruto for having invited Colombia to participate in this great summit on climate here in this African continent. I come sent by the President Gustavo Petro, who was invited personally by the President of Kenya, and I'd like to thank him for blessing the central discussion that we have today, as that is a call to all of humanity to care for the great challenges, especially this planetary challenge that is putting into risk the life in the planet. As an African descendant woman, I'm very proud to be here in the mother continent. From here, my ancestors came. They were slaves when they left, but today I return as a free woman vice president. And that means that we have done, we have chosen freedom, justice, and dignity as people. It's an honor for me to be here to form part of this very important discussion, and it is the challenge that we have to, and which our nations face with the climate change. As you have said, Africa is the voice of the planet, but it's also the place where humanity came from. And today, knowing that Africa is giving directions on how to save the big house, the planet. However, it is necessary for this voice to be heard, to be extended to the global south. Today here, Latin America is present, the Caribbeans are present, because we are suffering the same challenges as you are. My country this year, as a government, we have had to face a crisis, a very strong crisis on account of the effects of climate change, floods, which have put in danger the lives of the most vulnerable. But now we have a drought which is starting and which is going to put into danger human life and the life of the fragile ecosystems which form part of this great lung of the world, which is the Amazon and the Pacific region. As we know here, there is another part of this lung of the world, which is the Congo Basin, the region of the Congo, a very strategic region for guaranteeing equilibrium. In this sense, President Gustavo Petro has made several proposals to the world in the United Nations, and today these propositions are placed before you. Whatever has been said today here about how to assume the polycrisis, the different crises that we're experiencing. The crisis of hunger, the crisis of migration, crisis of health, and the pandemic. All this is a sign of this planetary crisis, and of the many crises that derive from the impact on the planet of the climate change. And in this sense, therefore, the countries of middle income or the vulnerable countries are the ones that suffer the greatest consequences, as has been said here several times by the speakers. We are not the people responsible for the emissions, but we suffer the greatest consequences of them. And here the problem is a problem of finances. How do we finance the actions that we are carrying out in our countries and in our regions? The real problem is a financial problem. It's not a lack of political will to do something. The real problem is that we don't have the resources, sufficient resources, to look after, to challenge these planetary challenges, to face them. And therefore, we support the proposal of the President of a new reform of the structure of the financial system. We cannot attend this crisis with the same rules and norms of the international financial system, which certainly has a colonial view, or colonialist view, where the rich people sustain themselves in the economy by exploiting the poorer ones. And this colonialist vision will not allow us to challenge the situation that we are experiencing. Therefore, we propose the exchange of debt for climate action. This exchange of debt obviously cannot be in the traditional way as has been done before, because there would not be any just situation. We would not have the sufficient conditions to do properly these exchanges. These exchanges obviously imply special conditions, and one of these proposals is that we should reach agreements, multilateral agreements, to work on this transformation and on the financial system. And in addition, we should together build within this agreement, this multilateral agreement, a plan, an urgent action plan. The planet doesn't have much time. We do not have much time to continue speaking. We have to go into action. And this happens because of political will. The political will of the countries of the North, the G20, who continue emitting gases, but it is not sufficient for us to act in the South if the global North does not take up the challenge of limiting its emission of the gases, as we were saying, as the General Secretary of the United Nations said a few minutes ago. In this sense, therefore, we propose that we should do the same, that what was done in the case of the pandemic. The International Monetary Fund should issue special bonds so that these can contribute to create a global fund to allow the middle-income and vulnerable countries to have the economic conditions to be able to face these challenges. Without this, it would not be possible to advance Without this commitment to reform the financial system, our countries will continue being drowned in debt, and worse, without getting real responses, solutions to our populations that are dying. As a woman, I celebrate that in this space, in this summit, we are considering the role of women in the policy of life, in this the policy of using our instinct, our maternal instinct, to save our mother, the earth, the bigger uterus. Thank you for this invitation, and I repeat, Colombia expresses its commitment in climate change, and its commitment to strengthen South-South relations with Africa and with the Caribbean, which will allow us to give concrete, specific responses and to this planetary challenge. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my sister Francia, for that candid statement. And by the way, Francia has a Kenyan name. She's called Nyawira. And when she came to Kenya, we traced her origin to a place called Meru. So thank you very much, Nyawira. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. A round of applause for Nyawira, Francia. Thank you very much. Now, let me take this opportunity to request my brother, the Prime Minister from DRC, to make his comments briefly, because we've really overshot the runway. Your Excellency, please.